So hello everyone and welcome to another video with three P's and games. In this video I'm going to be talking about diversity, equity and inclusion and the whole hula baloo regarding woke, anti-woke, and just going to be saying my personal opinion on the matter. Now once again, disclaimer, this is my personal opinion. I do not represent anyone or any company or organization. I'm just saying what I believe is key in the video game space. I'm going to be talking about from the audience perspective what I think the audience should know, and then I'm going to be talking about what I am looking for from developers, publishers and whatnot. So I think I'll just start by this. Diversity, equity, inclusion, or things that want to, in what word, showcase minorities and do things. I agree largely it is a good thing. It can be a very complex and imperfect thing to implement, but I think that with active and strong, mindset and a true hope to actually do something, you would actually achieve it. Now, the problem I have with things like DEIs and labels essentially is that when you have things that are labeled and they come with names, for what I've seen, usually comes with business related mindset. It's usually an industry that is forming around it with a bunch of grifters who are there to make money. Call themselves consultants and call themselves experts, and they're just there to rake in as much cash as they can in this new industry, and they are hoping this industry will continue to grow and continue to thrive. That's all they are there for. We've had it over the years. I'm sure there are many people that came in 2 years ago with NFT and AI NFTs and NFT experts, NFT consultants, and many of them now are fizzled away. And once you have terms and people start using terms and words and keep singing the words up and down, there's usually someone somewhere making money, and that's why those terms are being floating around everywhere. A consulting group is seeing how they can cash in, and they've created a buzzword that has to go around corporation, and they can come and charge corporations, and say, okay, you need to hire me or else you won't get your ESG funding now. Blah 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 blah. It's how it is. So that's one thing I don't like about labels. But in the practice, and the hope for people that are genuine about it, I think it's something that everyone should strive and at least represent the population around them. I think if you are in a US country, for example, US, Canada, wherever you are, you look at, okay, what is the racial demographics or whatever for the age range or whatever I'm trying to hire, or the skill level I'm trying to hire, and or the roles or the my complex, let's say my company is an organization. Understand, in the skills roles, what is the percentage of the population from this race or that race, and just try and represent that thing. I dislike it when people, you look at companies and they're expecting some high level ratios. Like, yeah, maybe you want to see more people in leadership positions, it's fine, but it's going to be difficult, you understand? Because even in those countries that you're looking at, how many of them have people of color or minorities in those leadership positions in government in the first place? So you have to understand that some of the things you're asking for are quite unrealistic, in my opinion. And I also don't like it when you go to a place where you have immigrants coming, and as an immigrant that I am, and immigrants only want to hire only immigrants. Like, not really. They're expecting you to come forward and grow the country for everyone, not just the people you feel that should benefit. So it has to be, you have to look and be diverse in every way possible. Not only diverse when it comes to the people you feel need to be, diverse. You need to be diverse to everyone. Diverse means everybody. Try and represent every population in general. Understand? As more of the demographics, of course, as more of the demographic shifts, you should also try and represent the demographic shifts in your country and location or region, wherever you are. I think it just makes sense. If you can't represent the country, try and represent the state or whatever. Just try and represent the region you are and try and have that representation. It's difficult. It's not perfect. It's not easy. But I always say competence goes first. If you manage to and able to find a couple of people that are similar competence level, similar skill level, and you're looking, okay, we have a lot of black people here. Maybe you should hire a couple of white guys. If you have someone at a good school level, you can do that. Like, if you already have enough, what's the point of not reflecting and making that change? Does it really happen in the grand scheme of things? No, but it's something that we should strive to achieve. But yeah, just going into some of the things I have to say. Again, I'll say one thing first. Everyone has an agenda. Number one, everyone has an agenda. Everyone has an agenda. I'll say it again. Everyone has an agenda. Everybody has values, ideals, mindsets, experiences that they've come with. All your developers have those things. All your developers have experiences by growing up. All developers live in particular places where they're experiencing things. All the developers have ideals, they have mindset, they have values, and those values will translate in their games. No matter what you want to create, you want to create something fun, you want to create something great, yes, but one way or the other, your values, your mindset, your beliefs will translate to your games, and that is fine. It is part of artist's work, it is part of consuming media. Those things will translate into the games. Their agendas. Everyone has an agenda, either you like it or not, because either you like it or not, whatever media you're consuming, people don't actively try and make sure their beliefs and their thinking does not spill into their media regularly. Most people don't do it. So whatever mindset and belief they have, it usually will spill into their media. Usually they take how they think about media. It's just what it is. And there's nothing you can do about that. So everyone has an agenda. They are pushing their beliefs one way or the other, and what they feel is important, their values. It is seeping into their content. So have that at the back of your mind. Everyone does. Anyone that tells you there's no agenda, it's just lying. Nobody just makes things and says, "Oh, they're gonna move my belief," or just want to make things for making sake. No. Anyone telling you that is just lying. Understand? Everyone telling you that is just lying. You can't say that nobody has things they are trying to actively change. Like, for example, give an example. Anyone that wants, unless you want to pretend that okay, there's no difference between the way Western media are portraying women now in games compared to how the Asian developers are portraying women in games. Like, there's a clear difference, a very clear, distinct difference between South Korea, Japan, China, and the West. Clearly, not only the West is liberal West, and some conservative West still may be general. What is it? Even conservative West, there's a general idea of how they want to portray Western women. It's a general idea of how they want to portray Asian women. Even some Japanese companies, when they're portraying women, because they know that they want to sell more in the Western world, they are portraying them in certain ways. And you see people rallying online, oh, censorship, this, blah, 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 whatever. There are certain things that they have seen that can fly in their own country, may not fly, or maybe they'll get some media backlash for certain things. It happens. But anybody that tells you otherwise, that there's no difference, is just lying to themselves. There's a difference. Developers talk among themselves, they agree among themselves, they reach consensus. Corporate companies have diversity inclusion program or whatever that they discussed and sat down to say, okay, this is how we want to be portraying women going forward. Big corporate companies. We've seen something from Microsoft and other companies. It is not strange. You get me? It is not strange. It is what it is. A company like Sony would do both because they are Asia. They have Western studios. They will do both because they can be flexible in that way. It's what it is. You can't. Anyone that tells you otherwise is just lying to you, and that is just what it is. There's always an agenda. Those people that are telling you that are dishonest, are disingenuous, and they are also grifters as well. Just like all the people that shouting anti-woke, anti-woke, anti-woke there and there and there, when there's no need to be, there's nothing like even woke and whatever there. They are both grifters. Anyone telling you there's no this, anyone telling you that there's this, they are both grifters looking to stand on the moral high ground and feel superior and feel like they're the smart ones that actually know what's going on. No, they are not. They are both the same. Second thing I'll say is don't expect steak from vegetarians. Simple. What I'm saying is this: you can't expect a developer that stays in a state that maybe has only vegetarians, and you now want to go there and say you expect them to give you a buffalo steak or whatever. Like that's madness. Understand? They all live in the same place. They all share the same values. If they live in a place, the studio is in a place with highly liberal colleagues, they're gonna put out highly liberal content. It is what it is. You have to accept that. You have to move forward and you have to move beyond that. If you live in a place with highly conservative team members, they will put out a highly conservative game. That what it is the same thing. That is both sides of the same coin. Anybody tells you otherwise is telling you different. Both sides of the same coin, fighting for whatever they believe, pushing for whatever they believe. Because when you believe in something, you continue to say it. Now, some people are just hypocrites. They don't really believe it. They just do it because it's the easy way out. That's not the discussion for this video. So that's another day. But at the end of the day, if they're in the same place where everybody is an echo chamber, everybody agrees on certain things, they will put out certain content. Give or take for an example. I love The Last of Us Part 2. Understand? It's one of the favorite games ever. It's a masterpiece. But Naughty Dog is in California. Is in California. It's a liberal state. Majority of the people there will probably be liberal. Majority of the people there will probably think liberal. The director is clearly liberal. I'm not gonna expect anything else from the Naughty Dog team. It will be pointless. It will be senseless to expect anything else. For me, that's my thinking. Their games would showcase liberal views and liberal mindsets. It's what it is. It is who they are. It will always bleed into their content. It's not. So when I see people shouting, "Oh, woke, woke, woke," you are saying nonsense. You clueless sort of complaints. If I look to that side and I see the anti-woke guys making noise about Tales of Kanzera and saying, "Oh, Sweet Baby Inc., blah 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 blah," I'm just looking at you that's senseless. You know what you're doing. It's not really at whatever you're doing. It's the other word that I wouldn't want to say here, but is that you know what you're doing is pointless. That is a game developed by someone that is black and African, trying to promote African culture. There's nothing be woke about that. That is the kind of sponsorship. That is the kind of diversity and inclusion that I celebrate, and I'm glad celebrating that kind of celebration. Did I love the game that much? Maybe not really, but that's another different conversation. But I support those kind of initiative, and when I see people making noise and complain about that, that's just pointless. Don't expect things from those people. And I think the final thing is just vote with your wallet. Yeah, I'm sure maybe the guys in the Western world will be sad and disappointed that that maybe there's would I say overwhelming amount of liberal studios that are putting out liberal content, and there's a large amount of liberal media that drowns out the liberal drowns out the conservative developers, and the liberal, because liberal media is so liberal, it doesn't make sense for you to be conservative developers or whatnot. So I can understand why some people may have that sentiment. It's not their fault. Those studios were successful because many people voted with their wallet. Because regardless of whatever identity or whatever thing they put in their game, their games are good. Their games are good, and that is all that matters. If the games are good, people play them. Doesn't matter end of the day, because end of the day, if you are someone that has a brain, you would know that many of these things are how we have the agenda. If the games are good, they will sell. If you don't want them to be continue to be successful, vote with your wallet. Don't buy. Don't play. Don't redeem on PS Plus. Stand your ground and say no, 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 no. Don't touch it on Game Pass. Don't give them any money. Stand your ground and don't touch. Understand? That's that. But of course, you can't do that because how many people do you want to ignore at this point? Everybody has one form of liberal push or the other. The best you can do is pay for one service and avoid supporting liberal content as much as you can. But doesn't mean you're not still giving companies that are sponsoring liberal content. You understand? If you say you want to avoid conservative companies, many of these big companies have a mixture of liberal and conservative, and some of their things are highly on the conservative side. What are you going to do? Those people debunk those companies, not drive their cars, not use all their services. You see people saying, showing what they call it, lists trying to not use Elon Musk products or whatever. You're like, come on, guys, you can't go that deep. Many of you will still use products that will some way or other bring out money. So, like, it's a lot of these things is just people looking for the easy way out. But there are real problems in the world. Lots of problems in the world that the media is not covering now, and those people are not there making noise about. On both sides. So, end of the day, it's just a grief. So vote with your wallets. You should support Japanese games, support other games if you think Western is too liberal. If you don't like, if you maybe you are tired, you like Japanese games, but you're tired of how they're portraying women, don't buy Japanese games. Buy Western games. They are more, probably what you like. Buy Western games now. Don't buy Japanese games. Don't buy the games like Stellar Blade and Water if you have issues with their portrayal. Just vote with your wallet. I think that's just fine. I think everyone will get along. What I don't like is people you don't want to support the game, then you go after the creators. You go out of your way to make the creators lose money, boycott games and whatnot. No, that is ridiculous, and nobody should do that. I think those creators have spent blood money and time to create those games, and because they put in ideas and belief that they have into those games, does not mean because you don't agree with those ideas does not mean you should now be pushing for them to lose their jobs and lose their money. On both sides, it's one of the things I find the most annoying. You don't push for people to lose their jobs or not make money. Sometimes I see games and I'm looking at the controversy around it, and I'm looking at who I think the game is for. I'm looking at it and I don't think this game will be successful, because I don't think it's a good enough game for them to be pushing whatever agenda they are doing, because I think the first thing first, the game has to be good. Then I can say, okay, maybe I'm not thinking this game will do well, but that's just a prediction on what I've seen. But I never wish for any game to fail or developers to not make their money. It hurts when you see studios close down. No one should be, say, oh, let's boycott Hogwarts Legacy, or let's create a controversy for Stellar Blade or whatever. Those things, in grand scheme of things, everyone has the right to say their opinions, and other people that have put in sweat and blood, you can't now say you want all those people to fail and you want only patronize the people that speak your mind. Those ones should be successful. No, buy the ones you want to buy. Don't buy the ones you want to buy. Don't start a campaign. Don't make it life difficult for the developers. Don't make life difficult for the creators and fans that want to play those games. You voted with your wallet already. That's the highest vote you can do. Vote with your wallet. The other guys will vote with their wallet. The same way you go and cast the ballot and everybody is fine. Ballot casting. Use your money to vote and everybody is fine and everybody moves on with their lives. That's just my own take on that. Well, what do I want from developers? What do I want from publishers? I said, for me, just audience demographics. If you are targeting a certain audience, what are demographics? I think, if you have a long list of characters, just try and make sure they represent the demographics around you, demographics around where you're targeting, just try and make sure, as much as possible. if you know where you want to primarily sell is US, Canada, North America, just I think it's just best to try and represent that piece. Even if majority of the characters are going to be white, doesn't matter. Majority of the people here are white. That's just what it is. Move on. Like, that's what it is. If majority of characters are going to be white, that's fine. You don't have to create a game and then you intentionally make less white characters. It's pointless to me. And unless you are making a game to serve a particular audience, which it makes sense. I can understand why. Like, for example, Rockstar, when Rockstar did GTA San Andreas, we know the vibe they were going for. We know the kind of audience they want to portray. We know the vibe they were going for. We know why the characters are going to be a certain way. Understand me? But it won't make sense if they drove around the whole Los Santos and majority of the people were black. That would be dumb. That would be the dumbest thing ever. You have to try and reflect where you're making the game for demographics and who you want to meet. Like in the past, we had games like Def Jam. We had so many games that had female characters. We had a game like Def Jam. You understand? That was a game for hip hop and everything. Like rappers wrestling and whatnot. We had those games in the PS2 era. Like nobody screamed DEI then because people. We all knew and everybody knew that those games were genuine games trying to reach out to different audiences, trying to bring different people into gaming. Those were the kind of games. They were genuine games that people actually made games and made good games and said, okay, what can we do to use these good games? We already have a good gameplay here to bring in new people. And games like Jeff Dam and all these things came out from there. Of course, not all the Jeff Dams were good, but that was the thinking initially, But yeah, that's just key thing. Try audience demographic. You understand? Like we want to do the just make sure that just look at who you're targeting because it just makes sense. Like for example, one of the games I remain baffled by is Concord. Like, how would you release a game with a large character roster and there are barely any white characters there? So many characters, minority characters. It's not realistic. It doesn't make sense. Like, I don't want to I'm trying to understand what imaginary demographic are they targeting? What imaginary demographic are they representing in the game? Like, you choose to have different aliens and mixture, but you can't have like 3-4 white guys? No, come on, man. It's ridiculous. Like those are some of the things I see and I'm like, who are you making this game for? Like I understand you want to make those things, but it's obvious you're not targeting anybody. You're not targeting anyone in particular. You can't target everybody. You can't target all minorities. Like so who are you making the game for? Like games like Helldivers, Hellblade, set in Nordic, Northern Europe, kind of things. Those are the kind of things. Games like Stalker, games like Atomfall, targeting British culture. You are making games for those kind of culture. That makes sense. Games like Start of Midnight are making games for black. That makes sense to me. When you have a game that you just decide to purposely ignore, having a large major part of the human race population just because you want to be diverse. Nonsense as far as I'm concerned. So I still hope Concord will do well, but when this kind of thing happen, you ask myself, many things. Man, of course, this was not the reason why Concord failed. Many things, resulted in why Concord failed. I already said a video on that, but it's just one of those things I remain baffled by today. And I think the final thing I'll wrap up on is sponsor or publish developers in regions that you want to improve their representation. Go to Africa, sponsor developers there. Go to China, go to Japan, go to different parts of Asia, Southeast Asia, India. Go to Brazil, go to Argentina, go to Mexico. Go to different places and go and sponsor developers there. If you're a big publisher, if you have a publisher, if you really care about diversity and inclusion, there are many developers in those areas that will love to get your money. Give them money and they will make games. Look for good ideas and great games in those areas and they will come. Do you understand me? And in And by that, you would have been able to bring about all those things about, oh, people want to see themselves. You would have brought in so many games where people can see themselves in, that you would have solved the problem. And you don't need to bother studios that are in places that are largely white, and then you ask them to start making diverse games. It's pointless. It's a waste of time. Many of them can't do it right. Just as it is, many of them can't do it right. You end up with pandering, and you end up with many games that, for example, I still feel Assassin's Creed Shadows and Yasuke is pandering. I don't see the. I've not been seeing anyone to explain the logic to me as to why he's in the game. As someone that has been following the Speed series for a while, and I've not really been a huge fan, but I've been looking forward to, one of the things I'm looking forward to is finally playing Assassin's Creed in Japan. Getting to see lots of, hopefully we get to see Sengumi era, Okitasoji, the greats of Sengumi era, whatever era they really choose to pick, maybe Miyamoto Musashi era. I'm looking forward to it, and see they're gonna work how we're gonna be able to play games in that era. And then you bring in Yasuke. I'm like, why? First of all, Yasuke is a historical figure. You've not really done that before. If not really. So if you're going to do the historical figure, why Yasuke? Why not Okitasoji, for instance? I would have probably been a great character or something else. I just feel that it just felt odd to me, and it just felt okay. We have a male samurai character. Let's just make him black. And we can't. Okay, we're going to make him black. So because it won't make sense, because of the time period, let us look for a way to make it make sense. Okay, Yasuke is the black samurai in that time period. Let us make a black character that would historically never wander around Japan by himself, and everybody just looking at him like, who is this guy? Like, I don't know. Just me, it didn't make sense to me, and I just did not. Someone that maybe some of the people that in the past I've read a lot about Japanese history, and hoping that maybe we get someone like maybe Tokugawa or somebody, or somebody else to come. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt odd to me, and I still not got anybody that explained it to me. So I don't get it. I just feel it's pandering, and I think that's what you get when you have companies that just try to do diversity and they have a primary large white staff. It's just what it is. I just think don't burden them. It's not. They don't need to do that. Let them sponsor games in different regions, and that's all they need to do. And I think they will be diverse, because by doing so, industries will pull up in those countries or areas. Imagine maybe they go to a place like Atlanta or whatever in US, look for places and look for developers there. What do you think will happen? You have many black-owned studios who will primarily hire many black people, and who will now make good games, and who will get funding, and then you'll be able to have a wealth of games that have different set of people of color, and I think that's just the best thing. That's for me. So yes, so this wraps up my long ass rant about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And my take is we're all here to enjoy our games. Vote with your wallet. Whatever you want to see, vote with your wallet. If you don't like whatever value or ideas or mindset that someone is pushing in your game, simply hold your money. You don't have to pay. Hold your money and move forward. That is what it is. Hold your money and move forward. Don't think, don't talk too much, don't fight, don't wish the game bad, don't harass the fans or harass the content creators or harass the developers. Move on. If you don't like it, don't buy it. Go away. If you are someone that maybe you just want to experience gameplay and you're not really you feel you are confident enough to tune out whatever things you hear in media, then by all means, I think play your games, enjoy gaming. That's all. Thank you very much everyone for listening, and once again, this has been 3Ps and Games.